Hi, this is Kevin with Naples Lawn Service, and today we're going to talk about installing a 2-inch front leveling kit on your Ford Super Duty 2005 through 2025 models. Okay, so we got our lift here, 2-inch. They're just heavy-duty aluminum disc like this. They got a hole down the middle, so you're going to get 2 of those. You're going to get 2 bolts and a couple washers, and that's about all the parts you're going to need. And this is called MotoFab. It's 05 through 25 Ford Super Duty 4-wheel drive. And this is your instructions that comes with it. And this is going to be part number right here. Okay. And we got that on Amazon. And it was only about less than $30. And I've installed these already on my 2018 Ford, my 2019 Ford. Okay, and today we're putting them on a 2024 Ford right here. So it's supposed to fit all those years. Like I said, we've already put them on and tested them on those other trucks over the years. Never had a problem. Did a great job. Gives it a better stance, a better look. It just raises your front end up about 2 inches because it comes from the factory already down about 2 inches. So this will level it up. Okay, and this is part number X001SBS9UJ. And you can find them on Amazon. Okay, for your parts list today, you want to have 2 jacks, maybe 3, but at least 2. Possibly some cribbing here. Maybe more, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of these actually, in case your jacks didn't jack up high enough. You might need to put some cribbing under your jacks. You're going to need some chalk blocks for your rear wheel. And you can see that right here. You're going to need some jack stands. You're going to need an impact wrench, maybe a flashlight, a 1/2-inch ratchet, a screwdriver, and 2 wrenches here. This is an 18mm ratcheting wrench with a flex head on it, a little 5/16 open end wrench, a 13mm socket with a 1/2-inch drive, an 18mm socket with a 1/2-inch drive, a 13/16 socket with a 1/2-inch drive, 22mm socket with a 1/2-inch drive, a torque wrench that's going to get you at least 80 on it or higher. And this is called Loctite. You're going to need a little bit of this. Okay, so the first thing we did is put the chalk blocks in behind the rear tires. We also set the emergency brake, and we're going to jack this thing up and put in some jack stands. Okay, so you want to jack this thing up after you did your emergency brake and your back tire blocks. We use 2 jacks. It's a lot easier with 2 jacks. So we put the jacks right underneath the front swing bars, as you can see here. You want to jack it up more than 2 inches, so because you're going to need to have it up higher for one of the later steps. So I would go at least 3.5 inches when you jack this thing up. So after that we jacked it up, we put in the jack stands here and right underneath the frame, and then we're going to lower this thing down. It's going to be sitting on the jack stands. Okay, so now we're going to take these tires off. We're going to pop off this little trim piece right here so we can get to our bolts, our nuts, and we're going to take them off. Okay, and we're going to use our DeWalt impact wrench here. By the way, I did a video on this. You can check it out on my channel under the DeWalt playlist or the tool playlist. These are really great impact wrenches, but I got a 13/16 socket. We're just going to put them on there and start pulling off nuts. Okay, now we pulled that tire off. We're going to do the same on the other side. And by the way, if you haven't rotated your tires on your truck in a while, this is a good time to do it. We're just going to roll these to the back and roll the back ones to the front. When they go back on, we'll have a tire rotation. It didn't cost us to stop at the dealer. Okay, next you're going to disconnect these shocks at the lower bolt down here. This is an 18mm 1/2-inch ratchet and socket. Okay, so I took the bolt out, and now it's just going to sit there like that. And we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, now we're going to disconnect this sway bar end link. You're going to need a 5/16 wrench and 18mm wrench. Okay, take it off with the 18 millimeter and use the 5/16 to hold the other in place. If you want to go a little faster, this 18 ratcheting wrench will be a lot faster for you if you have one. So I'd recommend that. Okay, next you're going to take a 13 millimeter socket, put it on your DeWalt, and just take off this brake line bracket. And we're doing the same thing on the other side. So everything we did to this side, we're doing it on the other side as well. Okay, now we're going to lower these front jacks down slowly so we can take the springs out. Okay, so we lowered the jacks down in order to get this spring so it's going to be loose. And it is loose now, ready to come out. But when we put in the spacers, you're probably not going to have enough room. So we're going to take another jack and we're going to jack up the middle of the truck so these will elongate so we can slide that in and out easily. Okay, on this spring orientation, this part you got to make sure you get down right. There's a little nub here on this spot right here, and you got to make sure the end of the spring coil lines up with that nub when you take it off and when you put it back on. Now, we probably should have got jacks that were a little higher to begin with. We were off about 3 inches or so, or we could put blocks of wood under our jacks initially, but we ended up using another jack to jack up the center of the truck. If you can see here, this spring needs to be able to just about fall out of there. Okay, it needs to be that loose. If it's not that loose, then you're going to have to use a third jack and jack up your truck, or right from the beginning, use jacks that are taller or put some blocks of wood on the original jacks. But as long as it can swing out like this. And you can see how far we lowered that truck down. It's just about setting on those jacks now. But you got to lower the truck down in front in order to get this thing to swing out of here. Okay, now we're just going to take that spring right out of there. And the same thing on the other side. Okay, now we got an 18 millimeter socket on our DeWalt. We're going to take off this center piece right here. Okay, and then just take that bolt out of there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, then you can put this piece on with the beveled end facing down. You're going to have a bolt. You're going to have a washer. It's going to go down like that. And you're going to use some Loctite, okay? And then you're going to torque it down to 80 foot-pounds. Okay, and then that all is going to go right on there, just like this. That other piece you took off a moment ago, you are going to put on top of the new front leveling spacer, and you're going to bolt all that down to 80 foot-pounds. Okay, don't forget to put some Loctite on there around that bolt. It does not come with Loctite in the kit. You're going to have this on hand from the hardware store. Okay, now your new bolt size is a 22. 18 came off, but this is 22. So 22-inch socket. We're gonna put it on with this ratchet right here first. Okay, we're gonna transfer our socket over to our torque wrench, size 22. If you don't know about torque wrenches, I have a review on this one on my channel. I think it's under tools or something like that. But look on my channel. I'll have a review and everything about this torque wrench here. But you've got to have a torque wrench that goes at least 80 pounds. Okay, you're just going to repeat all of that on the other side. Okay, so we ended up taking that jack underneath the middle of the truck and jacking it up some more because we want to make sure that spring is going to fit in there still with the 2-inch spacer on it. So now we got it jacked up just enough, and you can see it's a little bit stiff going in, but it does go in. Okay, very important now that this spring is lined up. The end of the spring's lined up with the nub like we were talking about earlier. That's got to be lined up. It can't be sitting on top of it or some other angle. So just make sure that the end of your spring's lined up with that nub. Okay, so now we're going to raise up these jacks here a little bit, and we're going to make sure those springs are lined up. Now, as you're jacking up each side, you line up your sway bar length. Make sure those are lined up. Also, make sure that your shocks are lined up. So these sway bar links line up like this here, and you got to make sure that it's all lined up. All right, so as soon as you get your sway bar links lined up and your shocks lined up, then you're going to jack it up just a little bit so you can get your bolts in for your shocks. All right, now that your shocks lined up, you can put your bolts back in there. Okay, I don't have a torque spec for this. We just put them on super tight, and now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now we're going to put on the sway bar nut. Okay, we got that tightened up. Now we're going to do it on the other side. Now we're going to put back on the bolt for the brake line bracket. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, before you put these front tires back on, just make sure that your shock got lined up right. Make sure that your sway bar links are on there right. Make sure you got the bolt in your bracket for your brake lines. Make sure that you lined up your nub with the end of the spring, and just did every step on both sides correctly. Just take a good look over at it. All right, now we're going to put our front tires back on and torque them down to factory spec. Okay, put your little hubcap back on. They just snap right on there. And then do the same on the other side. Okay, now you want to take your jack stands out. Then we're going to lower down that middle rear jack. All right, now we're going to lower down our front jacks. Okay, so after you do that, make sure your brakes work before you drive it. Nothing got loosened up or punctured or anything like that. And they recommend that you have an alignment on this as soon as possible. All right, this got a lot beefier look now. The back was always up there, but the front now is up there, which matches the back. And it's just a lot bolder, beefier look. It just makes this whole truck look so much better. Just 2-inch lift is all it was. And oh, it just looks so much better like that. So $30 and an hour and a half labor, and yours can look like that too. So there you have it. That's how you do that. It's really easy, very inexpensive, and long-lasting, high-quality stuff. We're going to have a lot more Ford Super Duty videos coming out. So if you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. That'd be great. This is Kevin with Naples Lawn Service.